Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, How Vivint Smart Home Drives Their Customer Experience with Multi-Channel Marketing plus PFL plus Service. My name is Carolee Slayton, and I'm with the Salesforce Marketing Cloud team, and I will be your host for today's session. But before we get started, I just want to cover a few of our housekeeping items. This webinar will be available on demand after we wrap up, and you can use the link that you have in your registration email confirmation to access this webinar in the future. Please note that the slides will advance automatically throughout this presentation, and if you want to enlarge your slides at any time, simply click on the Enlarge button located in the upper right-hand corner of the presentation window. Should you need any technical assistance during this webinar, please feel free to click on the Help widget located at the bottom left-hand corner of your console. We've also added some great additional resources here in your resource library that's directly to the right of the slides window, and this is where you can find some additional content, including more webinars coming in the future. And lastly, I'd really like to encourage you to submit questions at any time throughout this presentation using that Ask a Question widget in the bottom right of your console screen. We will answer as many questions as we can at the end of this presentation today. So just to set the stage for today's great webinar, we wanted to talk a little bit more about how marketing, sales, and service work together. Today's customers, you know, they're interacting with brands in more ways than ever, and their expectations have never been higher. Customers expect you to know who they are, where they're located, what their history are, and to recognize them across every channel. And that customer experience is the sum of every interaction those people have with your brand. And then experience could be your next competitive differentiator. Those physical, digital, and even departmental lines are blurring more than ever, and service has been coined the new marketing. And now we see marketing, sales, and service needing to work together in unison to provide that seamless customer experience. So probably many of you are here today to learn how. How can you break down those silos and provide a better experience for every customer? And we have our friends at Vivint and Print for Less that are going to share some of their experiences with us today. As I said, my name is Carolee Slayton. I am a Principal Product Marketing Manager for the Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and I have the pleasure of being joined today by Yeva Roberts with our Partners for Printing for Less, and Tiffany Compton at Vivint Smart Home. Yeva and the team at PFL are moving the industry forward by reinventing the digital marketers and the way they think about using direct mail. And Tiffany Compton brings a passion to deliver world-class customer experiences at Vivint Smart Home. So we're in for a great session today. Yeva, why don't you kick us off?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carolee. So I want to do a quick introduction about our organization, PFL, or Printing for Less. We are a marketing technology company that provides printing, mailing, and fulfillment services to both B2B and B2C companies. Our purpose is to come alongside CRM and marketing automation platforms to bridge the gap between digital and physical worlds. And as Carolee mentioned, we are also a Salesforce app innovation partner. And we're focused on solving some of these key challenges, these customer experience challenges that you may be facing as well. So I'm going to start with trends we're seeing across the industry and then some of the things that we're doing with our customers. And finally, I'm also very excited for our customer, Tiffany, from Vivint Smart Homes to share her team's transformational story with us today. So I want to start by sharing the three key challenges that keep coming up for us and our customers. The first challenge is knowing and honoring channel preferences. And the second is really around how we use and show emotion in the ways we communicate with our audiences and build customer loyalty. And finally, minding the gap. This is a top priority for our customers, and it's all about merging their disparate processes and systems. So one of the biggest challenges we're seeing is around channel preferences. This is our first trend that we keep coming up against. This is all about the types of channels, the messages, and even the frequency in which we receive these messages. So our customers do recognize that asking and honoring channel preferences increases their response rates and improves their customer loyalty. However, their delivering on this becomes more and more complex as their business grows and their experience changes. Some of the things that our customers are already doing, of course, is asking for the information at every interaction. But we're also seeing more and more of these customers put significant focus in things like using machine learning to reveal what percentage of their customer database is consistently using certain channels and for certain types of interactions. The second trend we're seeing is how brands use feelings to influence purchase decisions and build rapport with their prospects and customers. So brain science studies continue to show us that we are hardwired as people to have greater brand recall and association from physical materials. Our customers understand this. They see that while an email or a voicemail may get overlooked, the package does get opened. And when we include a personalized note, we further invoke that emotional response, which creates a natural opportunity for us to talk about who sent us the package and why we appreciate that helpful, thoughtful, or entertaining nature of the message and the content. And finally, the mining the gap. This is a top priority for our customers, as mentioned before, and it's all about merging their disparate processes and systems. So I'm sure all of you can relate to me, and as consumers, we expect to be able to call, email, text, send smoke signals, chat, write, and really communicate by any means possible to us and available to us. But we also demand that it all be done in a consistent way. So what that means for our customers is that their ability to blend data across all of their departments to make the individual engagement more personal and immediate has become a top priority. It also means that the distinction between digital and physical communications across the entire communication lifecycle is blurring as well. So if these are the trends, what is driving the need for our solution? There are 4 areas of pain we see most often. First, the Marketing Cloud customer needs ways to create a deeper connection with their audience. There are other customers that also want to stand out from their competition, so they need a way to cut through the clutter by incorporating a high-impact touch throughout the customer journey. The second way is they need to do more with less, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this today. They're actively looking for a more flexible and scalable solution that saves their team time with direct mail operations and, of course, support their growth initiatives. The third way is many still operate in channel silos. They have separate data, separate systems, separate teams, and as a result, not taking full advantage of all the investments in Salesforce to bring it all together. And finally, they're looking for ways to shorten the purchase cycle. I do want to walk you briefly through how we built Tactile Marketing Automation to solve for some of these pain points. So to start, it is a seamless integration with Marketing Cloud's Journey Builder, which makes the user experience for personalizing and sending direct mail as easy as it is to send an email. All the rich data that you already have residing in Salesforce can be used to dynamically personalize the direct mail message. And based on your profile attributes that you may be storing, the digital activity you're storing, or even the business rules you create, users of the system can automatically send a personalized mail piece to an audience of 1 or even tens of thousands. Our customers are no longer saying things like, let's create a list and send this out. They're letting the data decide. They're also now able to create a unified view of all customer interactions, not just digital, and this allows them to maximize their budget, their marketing budget further. And finally, one of the favorite things for me as a marketer is that this can all be done in real time without major process or system overhaul, as you'll learn more about in a few minutes from Tiffany and the Vivint story. So I also want to take this opportunity to share with you some of the projects we're working on with Marketing Cloud customers. The first set of use cases may surprise some of you. This is around retargeting and incentivizing conversion. And this area is where our customers like to experiment a lot. One of my favorite examples actually is around automatically sending a beautifully curated mailer with images of items they've left behind in their shopping cart. And second, when it does come to increasing revenue, our customers use direct mail to find and activate missed opportunities. For me, one of the most common examples I see is utilizing CRM data to message those who've opted out of email, but are also showing engagement by visiting their website or store. Another way is perhaps a portion of your demographic is non-digital consumers. So instead of pretending they're not there, which I'm sure some of you are doing today, You can leverage their physical mailing addresses you have on file to build a relationship with them. And finally, the last set of use cases are all around how you retain more customers by engaging them at the right moment. It all starts with knowing the rational and emotional triggers we have at every stage of the customer journey. And we see a lot of interactive welcome kits here. We also see a lot of celebrations for reaching milestones. It could be birthdays, anniversaries, any gamification you might have for your community engagement. We also see more meaningful renewal communications come up, and of course, win-back mailing. And our customer Vivint does all of this really, really well. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce Tiffany to continue the story for us and share her results. Tiffany is the Senior Customer Experience Manager at Vivint Smart Home. And what Tiffany has done is address some of these challenges head-on by taking Vivint Smart Homes through a marketing and service transformation using Marketing Cloud and PFL. Tiffany, take it away.
Thanks, Eva, and thanks, Carolee. I just want to thank all of you for letting us share our story and letting us talk to you about what we've been doing. So let me tell you a little bit about Vivint Smart Home. Vivint is the leading provider of smart home services in North America. We deliver an integrated smart home system with in-home consultation, professional install, and support delivered by our smart home pros, as well as 24/7 customer care and monitoring. We're dedicated to redefining the home experience with intelligent products and services. We serve over 1 million customers throughout the U.S. and Canada. So a little bit about our team. The customer experience marketing team at Vivint was built about 3 years ago with one major goal: improve the customer experience. While we're a marketing team, we differ slightly from most teams because we roll into the operations side of the organization. So as part of operations, we're not only driven to improve customer experience, but we're also driven to drive down operational costs and generate revenue where possible. So how do we do this? We deliver timely, personalized, and relevant communications that strengthen the relationship between the customer and Vivint. We want to onboard, engage, educate, and retain the customer throughout all of our efforts. So we have a great team of smart home pros that work with the customer and deliver a custom experience during the installation. They're amazing at what they do, but we realized they needed some extra support, so we started to review all of the customer touch points. That led us to create a customer journey map. So we went through the journey mapping process of documenting all the current touch points for a customer in the sale and onboarding process, and then all the way through the end of their life cycle. We learned a lot, and we know that it takes time to create an effective journey map. You have to collaborate with every part of the organization, and it will change. And change is a good thing because that means your company is growing and evolving along with the customer's experience. So if you're going down this process, be prepared. It's very fun and very rewarding. After we created our journey map, we decided to look at the places where we could improve the customer experience and create operational efficiencies at the same time. And so we focused on the first section of the journey map, which was the onboarding. So one of the biggest key callouts for us here was we only sent customers a welcome letter in the past, and that would be done by one person who would do a mail merge once a week and sends letters out to all the customers who had been installed. There were several problems with the process. Communications weren't being sent in a timely manner, and the biggest problem was we were sending letters when we could be delivering necessary information in another way. So we took a look at the data and we said, okay, pulled our Salesforce data in and said, what are people calling in about? So different kinds of cases that customers would call in and trying to get different information. So we knew we had all of our Salesforce data and we had implemented Marketing Cloud. And we found PFL after attending a conference, Connections conference, and we started to work on a collaboration. So with the Marketing Cloud connector, we were able to pull in applicable data from Salesforce, and with Journey Builder, we changed our welcome letter into a welcome journey for new customers. The journey pulls data relevant to the customer from Salesforce and provides data for the communication specific to that customer's smart home. So depending on the type of equipment installed, they get different communications. And here's a few samples of the account information. So we're dynamically pulling in the content from Salesforce via the Marketing Cloud and the connector to make sure the customer is getting the right communication at the right time. So as a result, we've seen an overall decrease in some of the biggest issues that our customers were calling in about. And the nice thing is that we're being able to drive them online to solve their issues instead of having to contact the call center, which has been a huge cost savings. The other benefit is we've seen a huge increase in open rate and click-through rates from our customer base. And one of the big things that tells us is the letter was fine, but sending email and giving them communication in the right way was even better. I talked about the letter before, but one of the biggest impacts from the new journey was adding a decision split at the beginning of the journey to determine which customers have an email address in Salesforce and which ones don't. The split now sends letters to PFL on a daily basis to be processed and sent out for those customers only that do not have an email address on file with us. So they get the information they need just delivered in the medium that suits their preferences. So what was the impact? We've been able to reduce the print costs related to this letter by 98%. This has contributed not only to a significant cost savings for print, but it also created a lot of operational efficiency for us. The people that used to manually create that letter have moved on and create other more impactful things for the organization. So how is PFL crucial to the success of this implementation? With the ability to integrate with Journey Builder is what makes this whole thing possible. By being able to set up a letter template quickly and easily, and the support of their customer care group and their success managers has been the only way we could have accomplished this. They go above and beyond to make sure we have exactly what we need, and we're delivering what we need to in a timely manner. Some additional uses that we're working on with the team at PFL and Journey Builder is adding things like referral cards. So all customers, when they're onboarded, get a unique referral code that's specific to them. That code lives in Salesforce, and we will be using that to supplement the current referral email. So the code will get populated onto a card. The card will then be mailed to the customer, and then they can share that card with friends and family for additional discounts on new systems in their neighborhood. We also are going to streamline the permit notification process. So not only sending permit notifications when necessary, but making sure the right permit for the right city, state, county gets delivered to the customer in that city, state, and county, so that we make sure that the customer is set up for success with their new system. We're also going to walk through billing notifications and shift that over to PFL. This will be a huge benefit for us because by having the automation set up in Marketing Cloud, we'll be making sure that the customers get the notifications in a timely manner, and it will help drive operational efficiencies as we will only send these notifications when they're required. So what have we learned? We've learned you're as good as your data. Our Salesforce, and I think most people that work with Salesforce have a lot of data stored in their CRM, and we've learned you're as good as your data. So making sure that the data that you have in Salesforce is correct and relevant is really, really important. And we also know that it's all there, you just need to connect the dots. Marketing Cloud Connector has been a huge benefit in this, being able to access custom fields and objects in our Salesforce CRM and connect that with Marketing Cloud helps us bring some of that data that's relevant to specific customers up to the surface where we can populate it in an email and make sure the customer is getting exactly what they need when they need it. And then strong partnerships are essential. So not only external partnerships like Salesforce and PFL, but internal partnerships with IT, the service organization, and the marketing teams are essential to accomplish all of these goals. Lots of collaboration goes into this. So I have a little quote from Kevin Sturtz, and it's know what your customers want most and what your company does best, focus on those two meet, where those two meet. We know our customers want ease of use and simplicity. We provide excellent service and strive to constantly innovate. Focusing on where these two meet is how we're working to get a world-class customer experience. And I will.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany and Yeva, for sharing your stories with us today. I'm sure there's a lot of intrigued people on the line. Before we go ahead and start responding to some of our questions, I just wanted to remind you all that you can continue to submit those questions using that Ask a Question widget at the bottom of your console. And we're going to make all of our efforts to make sure that this webinar content is valuable for you and to meet your expectations. So please also take a moment to rate this session using the survey widget at the bottom of the console as well. So let me take a look and see what kind of questions we have coming in here. We start with the first one here. This question I think is probably directed to Tiffany. You talked a lot about print. Why print? Isn't everything going digital these days?
We try to drive a lot digital, but at the same time we still have a large portion of our customer base that doesn't have an email address on file with us. So while going digital as much as you can is not only effective for the operation, but there's still a need to make sure that customers are getting the right notifications in the right way. So having the ability to be able to choose between print and digital is something that's available in the Marketing Cloud, has made our lives as customer experience marketers much easier because we have the ability to make that choice right at the outset.
Great. I appreciate you sharing that with us as well. Another similar question, but I think this one is directed to Yeva. What are your typical response rates that you see from those direct mail programs?
That's a great question. Thank you, Carolee. So I think for many of our customers, we do see them getting 25% increase in conversion. And when it comes to just, industry data, how that matches up is what we see is when you send out an email only, you're only getting about a 7.9% increase. And then when you add in direct mail, you up that to 8.8%. So that's about like a 1% increase. And then when you start to integrate further and adding other channels like digital ads or phone calls, you can actually increase that even further to north of 10%. So I think that would be what I would say to that. Does that answer it?
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. See another question we have in here. And this probably is following up with your question, Yeva. Just what are the best ways to measure success? Speaking again towards direct mail sends.
Yeah, I love this question. So I think a lot of you are probably thinking that traditionally one of the biggest disadvantages of direct mail has been that it's not been easy to track. That is all true. But what we're seeing now that you can actually integrate direct mail as part of your CRM or marketing automation platform like Salesforce and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you are able to improve that and start measuring success of your multi-channel program directly from the system because all the data is already in there. You can also add response mechanisms that are also tracked by Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So you now have the ability to drive that desired call to action straight from the system and then see results almost in real time.
Awesome. Let's see another question in here. Tiffany, you talked a bit about journey mapping and using Journey Builder and Marketing Cloud Connect. How big of a challenge was that? How did you start with Journey Builder?
The challenge wasn't Journey Builder. The challenge was more mapping out the journey with the internal organization. I think that's probably the biggest challenge we run into. Once you have the journey mapped and you can figure out what you want to say and when, working with Journey Builder has been pretty easy to get the right communication at the right time. And the opportunity to test within Journey Builder is also really valuable and helps us learn a lot as we're creating like the onboarding journey or different types of journeys. So I think the working with Journey Builder has been fairly easy. It's more on the internal side of making sure that your journey map accurately represents what's happening, and then that the data is all there to support what you're trying to communicate.
Wonderful. Another question coming in. I think either of you could probably answer this one. How do you track the success of print campaigns within Salesforce Marketing Cloud?
I can tell you how. I can tell you how we do it here, and then maybe Yeva can speak to how other partners are doing that. But as far as the impact on the success of the print campaign within the Marketing Cloud is, we look at how many people we send letters to, and overall we're trying to reduce the amount of calls related to questions. And so if a customer has received a print communication from us, we go back and look at that customer and see if they've called in for additional information. So for us, it's more of a case creation, or are we deflecting a call by sending a print communication to a customer? Yeva?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Tiffany.
Great. Another question coming in here. Talking about designing your journeys, Tiffany, this is probably for you. What groups did you see take the lead when designing your journeys? I assume that's internal groups.
I think it has to be a collaboration. It really has to be a sales, marketing, and service collaboration between all the groups. And I think that's essential because every part has a different impact. So the way a customer is sold could then impact what happens for them during the course of their life cycle. So I think it really has to be a collaboration between all of the groups. We, as the customer experience marketing team, took the lead on that because of our role and how we interact with the marketing team and the operations side of the world. But that just depends on the organization. So. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, follow-up to that question, just talking with your IT department, customer service, et cetera, how involved were they in taking the lead with journeys?
They were very involved in working with us on not only building out the map, but then also the implementation of Journey Builder and how that worked with our Salesforce CRM instance. So we were very deeply connected on the implementation of Journey Builder with IT so that we knew that any kind of communications that we were sending were positively impacting the customer experience. And the customer care team, we loop them in. Any communication that we send out notifications to that group to make sure they're aware of what the customer is receiving and when, so they can be prepared to address it if there's additional questions.
Wonderful. Next question I think is probably directed to Yeva. How do you get addresses for contacts if you're sending direct mail?
So we actually encourage our customers to ask for them. So we do that in a couple different ways. We encourage them to add address collection forms to their websites, through their emails even, any of the landing pages. We also, in the B2C side of things, or sometimes even B2B, but mostly B2C, is we encourage them to work with their data partners to do an append to their existing database, and all that data can then be easily available to PFL to trigger from inside Marketing Cloud.
Wonderful. And I think, Tiffany, you talked about all that data coming through Salesforce and using the connector to bring that into Marketing Cloud as well. So it sounds like it comes back to the data in your CRM.
Correct.
Got one more question on here, but we've got plenty of time. So if anyone has any additional questions, please feel free to go ahead and send them to us. Next question here, it looks like it's probably directed to Tiffany. You told a story about a great onboarding journey for all your Vivint customers and keeping them connected. What do you have planned for future journeys and keeping your adoption rates high?
We are planning several journeys right now and working on the implementation. So we started with an onboarding series that engages the customer within the first 30 days of being installed with us. But we have looked at it and said we need to optimize this existing journey and build some more touch points into that journey. So we're reaching out and reaching that to out to 90 days, and then at a point we're going to start adding additional educational emails in with that. We've also done some testing with customer interaction via a journey, so sending an email, having them click on a button, and having that take an action in Salesforce for the customer so they don't need to call. We're also looking at a renewal journey, so when the customer gets close to the end of their life cycle, sending them communications to let them know, what offers are available to them to renew their contract with us.
And Tiffany, just out of curiosity, how many people on your team are you the one doing the journeys? Is there a whole team of people helping you with all this?
I have a team of about 5. One is a Marketing Cloud administrator. So she is the person who's actually working with the Salesforce admins and the Marketing Cloud tool specifically to make sure that data coming in via Marketing Cloud Connect populates via the AMP script that's used in Marketing Cloud. So we're getting the right dynamic content into the right communications at the right time. And then I have a team of project managers that work on building and creating the content. And so there are several pieces that they're doing, and we're kind of going down the path of content marketing to help improve the customer experience. And so as I talked about, we're expanding that current journey. We're also looking at ways that we can dynamically populate content into that journey for customers based off the products in their home and the impacts that that will have. So we're building the content, and we'll be working on improving that journey over the next several months.
Fantastic. Looks like we have at least one more question in here. Gosh, I think, Yeva, this is probably directed towards you, but either of you could probably answer this. There always seems to be a digital versus print silent competition. After hearing your statistics, how do you make sure that print remains relevant?
So is the question around the multi-channel strategy, or is this multi-channel versus single channel? Is that what the question's about?
I think you could probably answer both ways.
Okay. So I think from the perspective of the statistics that we mentioned, I think the takeaway there is that it's not really about digital versus print. It's really around having a multi-channel strategy. We want to be there wherever our customers need to communicate with us. So not being silent when a customer wants to communicate with you via print, or the opposite via digital communication channels. Being able to have access to all of those, I think, is the takeaway there. And obviously, after integrating with your marketing automation platform, you can see the higher lift. So from the 10%, 8 to 10% that we mentioned for multi-channel marketing, to when you integrate it within Journey Builder to be just in time, you can get up to 25% or higher. At least that's what we're seeing on average from our customers using Marketing Cloud, Journey Builder, and PFL.
You know what I like, just as a marketer by nature. Yeah, I love that this example and how marketers can then make print relevant for when it's needed instead of just blasting direct mail to everyone. They're sending it to people they know are going to use it. So that's really intriguing to me as a marketer.
Absolutely.
Another question in here. This is probably for Tiffany, and this is an interesting question. It's from a customer, a Vivint customer. It says, I'm a Vivint and a Google Nest user. Will you help provide a status update on a weekly or daily basis on the status of my system, much like Google Nest does to inform on energy consumption? Kind of an interesting question.
Yeah, I had a meeting about that yesterday. We're in the process of determining what the most important, as a Vivint Smart Home user, what are the most important components to a Vivint Smart Home user, and what do they want to see? Is it energy management? Is it security? What are those key points about the system that they're interested in, and how do we deliver that appropriately. We are working on a collaboration with our team that has that data and how we can get that to the Marketing Cloud and serve it up to a customer in a monthly newsletter. Much like there are several utility providers that, say your energy efficiency compared to your neighbors, and so we're looking at how we can implement that. But that would all be dynamic content that we would then populate into a monthly newsletter to send to our customer base.
Fantastic. So great to have a customer on the line today as well. That's great. Well, that's all the questions that we have today. I really want to thank everyone for joining us, especially Yeva and Tiffany for joining us and sharing your stories with us today. As a reminder to all of our attendees, today's webinar will be available on demand and accessible through the URL that you have now. And if you're looking for a deeper dive and want some more information on this, we have some of those resources there for you that you can check out. We thank everyone for joining us today and hope you join us again for future webinars. Have a great day, everyone.